Hello, happy Monday. It is still dark. So I have my bright light on. I hope it's not too distracting in my glasses. Happy full moon. We've got a big bright full moon today. I did a little Instagram clip on some of the weird just patterns that are coming up with this moon. Um, the sun is in Leo, the moon is in Aquarius. Um, both are at 27 degrees, so they're opposite. So this is a day that really highlights the polarity. It really emphasizes like the full spectrum of those things. Leo, sun, the just Leo energy is a bit closer to home than Aquarius energy. Leo has to do with your creative expression, like your inner child, the part of you that feels that like indulges in entertainment and hobbies and expression and romance, and like see how all of those things are very personal. They're very close to home. Then Aquarius is the other end of the spectrum. It's more about your social circles, your networks, who you affiliate with. It has to do with like the future in humanity and like making improvements for all of humanity. So there's so many ways to look at this. Like you can just extrapolate those themes out to mean so many things. I've heard that this is the polarity between status quo and the opposite of status quo. I've heard it the like innovator of self versus the innovator for all. Like it's just play with it how you will, see what feels right to you. Something that I think is really interesting about this moon is the moon is at 27 degrees Aquarius, which is where the moon was when the United States was born, 27 degrees Aquarius. Just really interesting. There's some tense aspects with this moon. So the sun's in Leo, the moon is in Aquarius, Uranus is in Taurus. All of those signs belong to the same family of fixed. That's just a category. Fixed signs tend to sustain more. They tend to hold down the fort more. They tend to not be as changeable as the other families of signs. So when I see a T-square like there is between sun, moon, and Uranus, both the sun is 90 degrees from Uranus and the moon is 90 degrees from Uranus. So it makes, I think that's a nice isosceles triangle. I misspoke earlier. But that other point that's not filled by anything, I would call the release point when I look at someone's chart. I look to the release point to see where we can find like a break in the tension, how we can find relief from the tension, how, like how can I work with this energy that is pulling me in two different directions? So the release point of this square would be 27 degrees Scorpio. Well, who has 27 degrees Scorpio? Joe Biden. That's where the sun was when he was born. So I just think that's really wild. I think it's really interesting that he appears to be the solution. He appears to be like the release point in this tension. So I'm just really curious to see if any changes are going to be made this week. I did look to see if any other relevant persons had 27 degrees anything in their chart, and Kamala Harris has 27 degrees Libra for her sun. JD Vance has 27 degrees Leo for his rising sign. So this full moon is very, very closely impacting his chart. And then RFK is 27 degrees Capricorn, so for his sun. And I just think that's so wild. Like that's so wild to me. And I'm really curious to see. I don't think that the world's going to fall apart. I don't think that anything like bad is going to happen. I'm not coming from fear, like just genuine entertainment, because I kind of feel like politics is just ETV, but on a different channel. So that's my personal take. Might be unpopular. I don't know. But that is some of the energy that we have today. So more energy that we have today is Jupiter square Saturn. Jupiter and Saturn are a little bit slower compared to like Mercury, Venus, Mars, Sun, Moon. Jupiter takes about a year to get through a sign, so its full orbit around the zodiac is 12 years. And then Saturn takes somewhere between 2.5 years. Oh my gosh, I don't know why my voice is like this. Saturn takes between 2.5 years to get through each sign, so its full orbit is about 29 years. So the last time in history that we had Saturn in Pisces squaring Jupiter in Gemini was actually 1965. And that feels like a really long time ago. Not super long, but that, I mean, it's not like it was a couple years, it was a couple decades. So what was going on in 1965? Lots of different things. The one that really stood out to me, the event that occurred in 1965, coincidentally, was on July 6th, which was the very peak of that particular Saturn-Jupiter square. On July 6th, 1965, the 25th Amendment passed both sides of Congress to be sent to the states for ratification. That sounded really smart. I don't actually know anything about that world, but I've been researching. So the 25th Amendment, in layman's terms, just very gross summary, is when the US kind of established a protocol for what to do when a president can't president anymore. So they put the protocols in place for the vice president to step in should the standing president be dead or like resigned or just unfit for presidenting. So I just think that's really interesting. The last time Jupiter and Saturn were where they are in the sky, that amendment was passed. I'm so curious to see if we'll see the use of that amendment sometime in the near future. Just because I feel like patterns go, I'm not trying to be conspiratorial, although I love being conspiratorial. This is just like patterns kind of go in cycles. I've been noticing this in my life. I've been noticing it in my friends' lives, and just how insane would it be for that theme to resurface with this repetition of the actual pattern of the planets being where they are. Jupiter square Saturn it does make me think a little bit of litigation, of like narrowing down things, protocol systems, structures, kind of like refining things. So Jupiter's expansion, Saturn is responsibility and limitation. So when those two planets are at odds, it can feel like you have energy to make progress, you want to go forward, you want to be expansive, you want to be abundant, you want to grow, but there can be this element of like, you're not getting anywhere. Not today. You're sitting down today. We can feel like our responsibilities are preventing us from growth. We can feel thwarted. We can feel limited. We can feel, it's just a dynamic energy. So some of us feel that and it spurs us on. We want to just do it in spite of that feeling. Some of us feel that and we shut down because, my God, I poured my heart into this and now you're telling me I can't do it. So just notice as you go through the week, which kind of person are you right now in your life? Are you a person that meets challenge and barrels you through? Are you a person that meets a challenge and sits down to regroup a little bit? Neither one is bad. But I think if you can practice awareness, then you can have a little bit more say in the operation. Later in the week, we have some lighter energy to hopefully, I don't know what to expect in terms of tension in the beginning part of the week. I think that we can expect that everyone will feel it differently. We all have our own natal charts that this energy is activating in different ways. So it might feel tough, it might not. I just don't know. So you'll have to see how you feel in the beginning part of the week from all the squares. All the oppositions. Like I said, that energy usually is dynamic. It can make us feel uncomfortable. It can make us feel conflicted or tense or pressured. And again, some of us need that in order to like really get the cojones to go forward, sometimes it like bruises us like we're a dainty flower. So just be curious. Don't beat yourself up. If you notice yourself being one way and you want to be more of the other, make a decision, make a flip. You can do it. Getting later into the week, on the 22nd, the sun enters Virgo. So we're moving into a new season of the year. Virgo is an earth sign compared to fiery Leo. So I love Virgo season. I look forward to it. It's always a little bit challenging. I feel like all my messes come up from the bottom, from the depths of hell to look me in the face. And I got to clean them all up. I can't clean what I don't see. So just thinking back on the last two Virgo seasons that we've had, that's kind of how I've felt. Feels like a big cleanup. It feels like an exfoliation process. It feels like getting practical, bringing order to chaos. I love that so much. I know that energy is not for everybody. So a couple things about Virgo. It's easy to get stuck in analysis paralysis. Details are a big part of Virgo season, I feel like. So we can get like inundated with details. We can see a bunch of messes that need to get cleaned up, and then we can feel like, oh my God, I don't know what to do with all this information, or like my circuit board has been overloaded and I don't know how to proceed. Can also be met with like the flavor of the critic, or like the nitpicky, like having discernment and knowing where things go, knowing what order things go in can be really handy. But it can also flare up and kind of get out of control to the point where we think things have to be perfect, and that's just not true. That's a nasty little bug that gets stuck in our brains. So be mindful of that. Remember, you can only control yourself. You can only control the actions that you're taking, the measures that you're taking. And yeah, asking for help can be tricky during the season because we might not think that we'll like how the other person decides to help us. So I think that a good way to meet that is just to be aware. Like I was looking at my week ahead, and Wednesday is really busy and it's starting to make me a little bit anxious. And so just thinking about like how I can ask for help. So I have to like weigh that out, and like the help is more beneficial than it being done exactly the way that I would. And I have to surrender a little bit of that nitpick, a little bit of that discernment over, so I can get the help that I need to support the busy day that I have. Yeah, so be curious about that for yourself, how that shows up for you. Towards the end of the week, like the weekend, we've got Mercury sextile Mars. This is easy breezy. It's a nice relationship. This is really good for having direct conversations. So if there is a conversation that you've been putting off, this could be a good time to have it. I feel like our wit and our instincts are a bit faster. Like we have faster access to words that align with our passions and the point we're trying to convey. It would be a great weekend for like negotiating something, just because your wit, the speed of your communication is keyed up a little bit. It is, you're more likely to have a quick tongue, just like quick reactions, quick responses, strong instincts to guide you through the conversation. Sometimes if we take that really far, we can use our tongue, we can use our words to hurt people, to cut people down. So just be mindful of where you're at on that spectrum. On that same day, we have Mercury interacting with Chiron, we can use our words to help heal wounds. So that is a really nice relationship as well. It's very supportive. So another indication that it would be a good time to have conversations. It would be a good time to smooth some things over, to speak to something maybe that hurt your feelings at one point, and kind of clear that up, clean it up. Be mindful that you're not just talking about your wounds without some type of, you know, I don't know, we don't want to get stuck in complaining land, because oh, she hurt my feelings, or this didn't feel good, that didn't feel good. And we want to go talk to people about it so we can feel better about it. I think that a real bettering would be to have a conversation with the person that hurt your feelings, or have a conversation with the person that wounded you. So you're not, you're bringing a little bit of like positive action to it, instead of it's really easy to get stuck in the complaining loops. It's really easy to go through your list of phone contacts to call up your girlfriend that you know is going to commiserate with you. That's easy. It is easy. And I think that there's a place for that. But when we only do that, I think that we are laughing in the face of solution. So just be mindful with your languaging, with your words. If you're talking about wounds that you have with the Mercury sextile Mars, I just think it would be a waste if you didn't go straight to the source and try to address some of those issues. I hope you have a beautiful week this week. If you have any specific questions about anything, please let me know. And we'll talk soon. Happy full moon.